Hi, I'm Angela Harris, and this is my presentation, Understanding My Community. And the community that I work in is Emporia, Kansas. Emporia, Kansas was founded in 1857, and it's the first site to celebrate Veterans Day. The community is very proud of this. We do not have school on Veterans Day. We do, however, sometimes have a teacher professional development day or a work day, but it's kind of understood that there will be a break in between so that people can participate and watch the Veterans Day parade. It's a very big deal in Emporia, and the folks are proud to be a part of Veterans Day. Many families in our community are transient, and that's transiency between building boundaries and transiency between Emporia and other communities where there's available work. We also have quite a few families that travel home to Mexico and visit for weeks or months at a time. The Emporia community is located in Lyon County, Kansas, and as you can see, we're ranked 102 out of 105 counties on per capita income. There is not a lot of wealth in Emporia. Very much so, we have lots of folks who are considered low socioeconomic. And then lastly, we have a large Hispanic community in Emporia, and one of the big celebrations for them is Cinco de Mayo. Emporia is home to Emporia State University, so we have quite a few college students in our community. And then if those folks stay, we have quite a bit of our population that has some college or higher. We have a pretty young median resident age at 32, and we're almost 50% males, 50% females. And interestingly enough, in our schools, we have a larger percentage of Hispanic students than we have of white students. However, the county population, 70 to 80% of it is considered white, depending on what source you look at. We have very few African American students, and I have only been teaching in Emporia for 2 years now, and I was not born and raised there, so my knowledge about Emporia is severely limited. However, the history of Emporia is that it was not a friendly community for those of the African American race, and I believe that that history has contributed to the low numbers of African American residents and students in our community. Emporia is a larger city relative to the towns around it. There's quite a few ways that our school district can communicate with the community. Most notably, you'll see a lot of information in the Emporia Gazette, and the Gazette also maintains a blog by one of its editors. Sometimes they present popular information and friendly Emporia information about our school district. Other times, it's not very school district friendly. Like I said, we have a university. We also have a technical college that has agreements between our high school and between Emporia State University. The Emporia Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary, they're very influential in our community. This Hispanics of Today and Tomorrow is a very active group. And then we have a couple of foundations that are very supportive of education in Emporia. The Hopkins Foundation actually presents awards to our educators and support staff annually. The amount of the award ranges from $1,500 to $5,000, and they come to our schools and present those awards to the nominees. We also have the Walter S. and Evan C. Jones Foundation, and this foundation grants monies to the Emporia School District and other community organizations when certain criteria are met. They have funded everything from special devices for students to school-related initiatives. So we're very fortunate to have both of those foundations to access. In Emporia, we have the City Commission, our school board, our community members, and the superintendent. The community members, sometimes they aren't a present party in the considerations. However, I do hear lots of discussion about what the community will think when major decisions are going to be made. Recently, we had to redraw the boundaries for our elementary schools because some of our schools were becoming almost to capacity and other schools were way below their capacity. So we redrew our boundary lines to balance out the student populations. The community participated in those discussions and expressed their opinions and fears, but all in all, the decision was made to change the boundaries, and those will be in place this next school year. There are a couple of large industries in the city of Emporia. Mostly they're food. We're home to Dolly Madison, and we are home to Tyson, which is a meat packing facility. A few years ago, it was known as Iowa Beef Products, IBP, and when they closed the kill floor, we lost a lot of families who are in that industry, and the population and enrollment in Emporia suffered. Last year, not this past school year, but the school year before, Dolly Madison was closed for a period of time, and we were very fortunate enough that it wasn't long enough for our families to relocate. It was when Dolly was bought out, we were one of the locations that they chose to reopen, and we're very thankful for that. As you can see, we have very low income. There's about 23% of our residents live in the poverty level. Our median household income is much lower than that of the Kansas median household income. And our median house condo value in Emporia is significantly lower than that in Kansas. We have a pretty large operating budget, I feel, relative to the districts in the surrounding areas. As you can see, as it was noted in the note slides for this presentation, most of our money comes from the state and local sources. Federal only accounts for almost 10% of our budget. There's our number of buildings. Prior to my arrival, they had a 5th grade attendance center and a 6th grade attendance center, and they decided to close those and put the 5th grade students back in the elementaries and move the 6th grades to the middle school. This eliminated a couple of transitions for students, but it also meant that 2 iconic buildings in Emporia remained empty for a bit of time. The Lowther North and South buildings have since then been purchased and have new lives. One's is going to be a hotel, and the other one serves as kind of a community center. As I imagine in any urban area, where you live based on geography can determine what resources are available in your school, and that's no different in Emporia. We have a building where the parents are very involved, and this building is located in our newest area of town. I imagine that the incomes in this area are significantly higher than some of our other areas. Therefore, parents have resources to share with the building, and their parent-teacher organization is very active and provides an additional source of revenue. Now we juxtapose that with a couple of our buildings that are in the southeast side of town, where they are working class families. Their financial resources aren't as available for the school to access, which can be limiting sometimes when we're talking about providing additional tech devices or learning or experiences for students in those buildings. We have a high percentage of student diversity. Greater than 50% of our students are a race other than white. However, our staff population is very low in diversity, especially our certified staff population. I would say that less than 90% or less than 10% of our certified staff are white, and I would say that our classified staff experiences quite a bit more diversity. However, that can present some challenges with classroom management and when we talk about discipline, when we don't have knowledge of different cultural backgrounds. And then lastly, social tension could be caused by communication with families because there are language differences in our community. Using the traditional sources of communicating information, such as radio, newspaper, websites, might not be adequate to meet the needs of our families that speak languages other than English. This data and information came from these websites here, and I thank you for your time and for the presentation.